lovies, welcome to Learning, Growing and Becoming. My name is Nontutugo, but you guys can call me Nontu, and I'm very excited to be doing this live thing with you. On today's video, I'm gonna be doing my first story time, and the story time centers around my practical experience as a social work student. As you all know, I studied social work at the University of Pretoria. I have to highlight that this story time was inspired by uh I forgot her name, but she was talking about wellness in the workplace and the signs that you're in a toxic work situation. And everything she mentioned was literally everything that I had gone through at that place. So I sat there, I was like, oh my gosh, I experienced all of this. And then all the things, the emotions started coming back. Even choosing to sit down and record this, I do feel kind of nervous. I'm like, oh my gosh, I hope I won't be putting myself into trouble by speaking up about this. But also, it is my story, it's my experience, it's what I went through, it's something that put me through hell. And if it's gonna be something that's gonna make another person in my situation, maybe you are doing your internship here or you're also going through your practical experience here, it does not, you do not have to be in the social work field, but I'm sure someone could, you know, get the assurance that things like this do happen in the workplace and that you're not the only one. And sometimes it's not you, it's really just how the workplace is structured. For one to be able to graduate as a social worker in your final year, you need to get involved in what we called practical placements. So you get to study and work for that academic period. You work 2 times a week or 3 times a week, and then the other 2 days were dedicated to varsity work. We were given the option to choose where we would have wanted to work. There was a system that was put in place to ensure that everyone hopefully gets their most preferred place. So different organizations would put up information pamphlets about what they do in their company, where they are situated, what they expect from their students, and then you as a student had the chance to pick 3 places. Because I watch Grey's Anatomy, you know, the fantasy of being able to work in a hospital, whatnot. I applied at a hospital. That was my first option, and then my second option was for this organization that works with primary school learners, and then the third option was also another hospital. I got placed for my second option, which was working with kids. I had prayed upon it and I was like, God, place me in a place where I'll be able to grow. Put me in a place that will confirm that I'm actually on the right career path. I was super relieved that I actually got my second option, because some people didn't get to be placed at any of their options. So towards the end of the year, while we were still waiting for communication from the placement, I get a text message, a WhatsApp message from my then practical lecturer, my practice lecturer. She sends me a text. She's like, wouldn't you want to rather work, it was a different organization that also worked with primary school learners. She asked me if I wouldn't want to maybe work with them instead of where I have been placed. I looked at the text. I was like, no, I don't think so. I think I'll be fine where I'm at, because when I looked at their presentation before applying during the social work expo, placement expo, I was very impressed with the way they presented themselves. Oh yeah, later only to find out the following year, oh my gosh, maybe that lecture was on to something. We went in the month before varsity opened. I was on the NSFAS bursary. So play for accommodation when university opens. So if the academic year starts in March, they'll only start paying for rent from March. If I have to be in Pretoria before then that means that I have to pay for my own rent. Fortunately for me, I have an aunt, my mom's big sister, used to stay in Pretoria, and I was like, okay, cool. I'll just go stay over by her place in Mamelodi for the whole month until I can move into my accommodation which would have been paid for by my bursary. Okay, cool. I been cleaning I'm Nandi, everything was all fine. I'm used to her, I'm used to my cousins over there, so it didn't feel like a burden or it wasn't overwhelming in any way. I was actually okay over there. The only thing is that which I only got to discover when we started going for training is the traffic in Mamelodi, guys. Oh my word. If you stay in Mamelodi, you know the morning traffic. You could literally be stationary at one point for 5 minutes. Okay, maybe I'm exaggerating, but like it feels like 5 minutes, if not 10. You'll be just over there, stationary, your taxi not moving at all. Okay, fine. I went for the first day of training. The organization was led by a white lady. The our supervisor was also a white young lady. She was very nice. And then we had two other employees over there, the black people. And you guys will understand why I'm actually highlighting their race and specifically mentioning what race they were. Um, I was placed with two other girls from my class, two other students, two white girls, and we met on that day. And that's when we found out that, oh, we actually placed, all three of us are placed here. They were very nice from the start, from day one. We all seemed nervous, we all were eager to learn, and yeah, it was just that the first day went fine, and then it was the second day at Kalinka's house. I told you guys about the traffic in Milord. So we were supposed to arrive at the workplace go 7. Yes, we're supposed to get there at 7:30. That particular day, that fateful day, I arrived late. I arrived, I think, Boma 22, quarter to 8, you know. And obviously I'm having guys I had been running straight to the office. I get to the office, the lady who heads the organization is sitting by her desk and she calls me like this. She's like, come here. I was like, wait, batata. Obviously now I'm shrugging. I'm super scared. What is she gonna say? What is she gonna do? And I'm also very embarrassed because everyone is already there, you know? I'm the last one to arrive. I get there and she's like to me, listen here, we can't be starting late because of you. Can't be starting late because of you. And yeah, I'm not gonna tolerate your lateness. Yeah, from now on, instead of arriving at 7:30, I want you to get here at 7. Hey, hey, guys, I shrugged. Ngawuswela umgodi. Ngawuswela umgodi. I was first of all super shocked that this person has not even tried to find out why I was late. First of all, I had never, it was my second time traveling from Emamilodi by taxi to that place I was going to. I haven't yet figured out the traffic situation. I hadn't by that time. I hadn't had enough time to like time myself and be able to say that, oh, if I leave the house at this time, I'll be able to arrive at that place at this particular time. No, I wasn't giving the chance to. I was still adjusting to the whole taxi situation. She didn't even give me the chance to like explain my living situation. Wada. I went to the other side where we had to do our training, where the two black ladies were leading the session, training us on, you know, your individual therapy, group therapy techniques, play therapy techniques, because we were working with kids. So when I sat down, guys, I was so overwhelmed. I was so embarrassed. I just burst into tears. I started crying. I had to remind myself in that moment. I was like, "Yo, honey, pull yourself together, pull yourself towards yourself. It will be fine." And the two black ladies were very nice. The other counselors or therapists, we used to call each other therapists. The two therapists were very nice. Now I had to come in 30 minutes earlier than everyone. I'm coming all the way from Mamelodi with that traffic. That meant that now I had to leave the house at like 6 to arrive at that suburb at 7. I used to get there, literally, guys, there'd be no one over there. I had no key. So I would get there and wait outside for 30 minutes until people started arriving. Until my supervisor arranged a key for me, so at least I would arrive there at 7 and then, open for myself and yeah, wait until everyone else starts arriving. Okay, the two other girls were placed at a different school. So I was placed alone at this particular school. So I'd be there alone most of the time. Everyone else used to rotate between the two places except for me. I was stationary and placed all the time at that one particular primary school. This one time, the lady that heads the organization, I think I should just call her Anne. Let's call her Anne. Anne is at the primary school where I'm at, and she asks me to go to all the grade 1 classes. That's what she said. Go to all the grade 1 classes and collect the names that I asked for from the teachers for, I think, for the kids that were supposed to see an occupational therapist or something like that. Grade 1 learners. Or first she says the names of the teachers. She's like, go to this teacher, this teacher, this teacher. And guys, school's just opened. I'm new here. There's no way I'm gonna remember Oguti, in grade 1V there's this teacher, grade 1T there's this teacher. No, I'm not gonna remember that. So I tell her, I don't know the teachers. She's like, no, then go around and ask from all of the classrooms. I was like, oh, okay. So I did that. I think there were like 7 grade 1 classes. I went to every class. I'm knocking. And sent to me. She's asking for the list of names for the learners that are supposed to be going to see an occupational therapist. The teachers don't ask a lot of questions, they give me names. I go to every class. I think I came back to her with like 15 names. And I put the names on her desk. I'm like, these are the names. I did what she told me to do. And she's like, what is this? And throws the list of names that I had given her. She's like, Nondu, you do not listen. You don't listen. Oh, I stood over there. Something in me was like, no, don't tell me I don't listen. I did exactly what you told me to do. So I was like, no, ma'am, I listened very well. This is what you said I should do. And I did exactly just that. And now my supervisor, let's give her a name. Let's say Joyce. Joyce is sitting on the other desk. She's listening in on the conversation. And I could see her cringe on her chair. I could see her being uncomfortable with the dialogue between Anne and I. Anne is like, you do not listen. This is not what I sent you to do. I'm giving you a chance right now to fix it. I want the true names. I didn't tell you to go to all the teachers. What is this? How am I going to afford an occupational therapist for all of these kids? What not. I want a redefined list of 5 kids. I'm just standing over there. I'm like, 5 kids? You didn't tell me to go look for 5 kids. You said I should go to all the classes because the teachers know what I'm talking about. And to all the when I went to all the classes, the teachers didn't seem to know what I was talking about. I left the office. I went straight to the bathroom and I cried. And then I got up and I had to go to each and every class and apologize. Yeah, I did that 7 classes again. And turns out the list of the 5 kids were only coming out from 2 classes. So why did she tell me to go to all the 7 classes to begin with? Oh, when I went back with the list, she was okay with it. She's like, oh yeah, I see how you handle pressure. Guys, I see how you handle pressure. Next time I should just try and follow the instructions well. Fine, that passes. But now I'm working on like I started becoming more anxious because now I'm working from a state of fear, you know? What more am I gonna do wrong? Um, what if I don't do things the way she wants me to do them? You know, now I don't know how to describe it, but like I was hyper vigilant. But another thing that was like weird about working in that place was that she did not want us working together. Like she hated us working as a group. She did not want us interacting with one another. So the one permanent employee over there, the black girl that I spoke about, she she stayed in Hatfield also. She stayed where I stayed. So getting to work, guys, we either used to take taxis or we would request. So it would make much more financial sense if we were to request together and get on one ride and then split the amount. It made logistic sense because we would get collected literally by our place and then get dropped off at work by the gate. We didn't get dropped off at Corning and then we'd have to walk. No. And this is when I had moved now to Hatfield to my place because I only stayed at my aunt's place for a month, remember? So we would do that, but she didn't like us being together. And girl knew that we were not supposed to be interacting with each other. Guys, we would pretend as if we don't talk. I kid you not. We pretend as if we don't ride in the same transport. So like she would get very jumpy. She would get super jumpy about it. But I didn't get the whole thing in the beginning, but she used to be like protective over it and very jumpy. So in the afternoons, for instance, we knew we'd be requesting together. Sometimes in the mornings, I'd just go along. And then we get each other there. But definitely in the afternoon, we would request back together. I would have to pretend as if I'm leaving. We're not gonna leave with the same car. I'd pretend as if I'd leaving, and then I had to wait for her at Konin. I'd wait for her by the corner, and then she'd arrive later, right after Anne had left, because Anne was not supposed to see us interacting. Anne was not supposed to see us together, and that for me was just super weird. We had different offices. Whenever the two other students came, each one had their own office, and if she ever saw one in one's other office, it would get real. She didn't like it. She would find ways to separate us, and it was just that. Even the other permanent colleague that I used to travel with, go to work with, whenever she wanted to like catch a break and come into my office to like have a chat, to vent maybe, or to just like unwind, let's just like have a casual chat, talk about random things, she'd be so jumpy. She'd always be checking for the door, hoping that Anne doesn't come in and finds us talking together, because then she'd be in trouble. Yeah, guys, it was so overwhelming. It was bad. I'm not gonna like share every detail. I'm just highlighting the ones that were most common and most overwhelming and got me more anxious than the others. I laugh, but it's not funny. I genuinely do not want to get emotional over this, because now I think you picked up on my two videos. I've mentioned how challenging last year was, and it has a whole lot to do with my work experience there. Guys, I started realizing that I wasn't okay, or I wasn't coping around May.